despite having such a busy schedule of the visit. Thank you for sparing time for the interview.
My pleasure.
As the Managing Director of the IMF, what is your assessment of the current global economy with emphasis on the Caucasus and Central Asia's outlook?
What we have seen over the last years is that a shock upon shock upon shock have impacted negatively prospects for the world economy. We have seen a fast recovery from COVID in 2021, 6.1% global growth, but then interrupted because of the war in Ukraine. And that combined impact has led to sudden jump in prices and an inflation that has proven to be stickier than anybody anticipated. This takes us to a global outlook for a slowing trajectory of growth this year, from 3.4% last year down to 2.8%, but most troubling is the projection for the next 5 years with growth at only around 3%, way below historic average. Why are we concerned for this prospect? For two reasons. First, because the fight against inflation is likely to take longer. Interest rates are likely to stay elevated all the way through 2024. And when interest rates are high, that constrains demand and investments and impacts negatively growth. Two, because of fragmentation in the world economy. It has deepened after the start of the war, and it risks to affect emerging markets and developing economies quite dramatically. What we see for this region, it has actually weathered better than everybody expected the shocks so far. Uzbekistan has a growth rate way above global average, way above 5%. It has also been in most countries quite concentrated early to fight inflation. Here in Uzbekistan, interest rates were brought up before the rest of the world was awakened of this risk of inflation, and we see inflation now trimming down. But of course, the region is impacted by these exogenous shocks, and to succeed, it needs to counter them with deep structural reforms.
And what is the IMF's economic forecast for Uzbekistan, and what needs to be done to encourage growth?
Uzbekistan has consistently outperformed the rest of the world over the last years, and our projection for this year is for above 5% growth. The government has the ambition for somewhere between 5.5% and 6% growth, and I believe that they are determined to continue with sound macroeconomic policies to secure that kind of growth path in the future. We have recommended that, one, the government continues with opening up for more private sector dynamism in the economy. We know that private sector is the one that creates most jobs. Keep up with this. Two, the government is thinking seriously about expanding the trade potential of Uzbekistan by joining WTO. And three, we are very much in favor of the deep structural reforms, investing in people, improving the quality of infrastructure, and expanding connectivity for a landlocked country. This is so important. And putting a lot of emphasis on rule of law, on good governance. These are things that have worked in many other countries, and I have no doubt they will work here as well.
Thank you for such a nice conversation, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.